They said you can't expand the Bluetti Elite 300. Wrong! Now, it is true that the Elite 300 has no battery expansion ports anywhere on it. So there is no way to attach, OEM or any other kind of expansion batteries to it. However, they've given us this very nice little port right here that is your DC/PV input. And if you take a look, it's rated for 12 to 60 volts, 22 amps, 1200 watts max. Well, it just so happens that a nominal 51.2 volt lithium iron phosphate battery outputs close to the maximum voltage that this will accept, which will maximize your input. And so if you get one of these trusty little cables, this has the XT60i connector on the end with heavy-duty 10-gauge cable. And it comes over here. The negative ties into the negative terminal of the 48-volt battery. Then I've got a DC-rated circuit breaker in the middle. This one is not quite the right size. I will leave a link for the right size one down in the description, just because we need to better protect this wire. I just didn't have the right one in stock to show you this concept. But we need some kind of additional overcurrent protection. And then coming out of there, we were tying into the positive of the external battery. And so we can just simply take this XT60i cable, plug it into that input there, and you'll see that the input watts on the power station immediately go up. And you can see right there, we're about 55 watts shy of a full 1200 watt input. So now look at the staggering numbers with this setup. The power station itself has about 3,000 watt hours of battery capacity. A 51.2 volt 100 amp hour battery, for easy math, let's just say is 5 kilowatt hours. And same with the second one. So 5, 10, 13 kilowatt hours. That is a massive amount of power and would run a lot of stuff for a good long time. Remember, this power station can output 2,400 watts. We're only putting in, just shy of 1,200. So technically you could outpace the amount of power going into this unit with loads plugged in over here. But most of the time, you are not running bonkers heavy loads for an extended period of time. I could see this set up in your kitchen for a grid down situation. You've got your fridge plugged in, maybe you've got an extension cord running over to the TV, and then you're also going to plug in, your coffee maker, the toaster oven, some of these loads that you're going to use in your kitchen. Well, the fridge is only going to pull, say, like 100 watts. Continuously. The TV, 100, 150, something like that. So that's well below the threshold of the power input here from the external batteries. Plug your coffee maker in, all of a sudden that's going to spike up to 1,500 watts, plus, the fridge running and the TV running, so maybe we'll get up to 2,000 watts. Now we're going to outpace what we're inputting here. But we've got 3,000 watt hours worth of battery buffer inside the power station to see that load through, because you're not going to be brewing coffee for hours and hours during the day. I guess some people may disagree with that, but anyway, most people aren't. So as soon as that heavy load shuts off and you drop below this input threshold, now you're going to recharge what was lost in this battery from this massive reserve of external battery storage. The Elite 300 is my favorite power station that's been released in 2026 so far because it packs a really big punch while at the same time being incredibly small and portable. The biggest downsides are two things. First one, no expansion capability, which we just solved. And second, the PV input, while pretty darn good, it's not amazing for a power station this size. Well, this setup here solves that. By pairing this with these external batteries, you now have the capability of installing an external MPPT solar charge controller. You can see it's got MC4 connectors on one end here, ring terminals on the other. The ring terminals simply connect up to the external batteries. And then obviously your MC4 cables connect to your solar panels. And because I've got 2 of these server rack batteries stacked up here, I can actually hook up 2 of these, technically actually even 3 of these. These charge controllers will input over 2,000 watts of power. So if I max this out with 3 of these charge controllers, that's over 7,000 watts of solar up from just 1,200 that can now be quote unquote attached to this power station. And that's all possible because of our massive reservoir of additional battery storage here. So we'll make tons of power while the sun is shining. That'll all get dumped into these batteries here. And then it will trickle out of the batteries at a pretty decent rate as you consume the power from the power station while the clouds pass over, during the night, etc. So then you can just basically rinse and repeat with this, and you will be able to get a full charge on this very easily every single day with the sun. Whereas with the 1,200 watt input plus any load that you're pulling, it could be a little bit more of a challenge to get a decent charge on this unit during the daylight hours with just a 1200 watt input. So you're kind of starting to get the idea of the value of this. These server rack batteries are some of my favorite. They're from Wattcycle. They just have these gorgeous screens, incredible build quality, built-in internal communications for down the road if you want to have a whole home, power system like I've got up here. But I'm all about trying to find good ways to stretch your money, make it go further, make it serve dual purpose. And I think this is the perfect example of that. Go ahead, get your server rack batteries and have them just kind of parked at your house, ready for, grid down emergency preparedness situations. If possible, have this set up offsetting loads 24/7 at your house. So that way, you're offsetting some of your electric bill. But then, let's say that you have an RV or like to go camping. Well, now you simply unplug this. You're completely disconnected now with your power station. Pick this up and take it with you, right? Because you're not going to be home, so you don't need this there. You need this with you on the camping trip. So take it with you, and now your money is serving dual purpose. Critical backup at your home when needed, and then being able to take it with you camping or whatever when needed as well. But hang on, this gets better. Let's say you're using this setup to run a window air conditioner. Most of those pull less than 1200 watts. So you will be net positive throughout the day. Hook up some mega solar to your server rack batteries and go ahead and get free air conditioning from the power of the sun. But in addition to that, go ahead and get your power cord, AC wall cord, and plug it into your Bluetti. Plug this into the wall and simply come to the Bluetti app, click the settings button, come down here to working mode and change this from standard UPS to PV priority UPS. And configure the settings, however you'd like in here. Now what will happen is, let's pretend that you have just this crazy long stretch of stormy weather and you're still running your air conditioner because it's hot and it's humid, but the solar can't keep up with the demand of the load. And so you deplete all of your energy here in these batteries, you deplete your Bluetti down to 20% or whatever you configure it in the app. And then instead of this just shutting down when it dies, you've got it plugged into the grid power, and so the power station will automatically switch over to supplying the load that's plugged into it via the grid power. You won't even notice that that's happened. And then because this is in PV priority mode, as soon as the sun actually does come back and you're actually getting decent charge back into these batteries, then they'll start feeding power back to this unit, and it will automatically disconnect itself from the grid and continue powering your loads from the solar power. But that's the other thing too. We talked about this being handy for multi-purpose use. These batteries are multi-purpose use as well. Go ahead, get them, use them with the power station right now. That way you've at least got your critical loads covered. Save your money, and then down the road when you get to something larger like this, boom, you've already got a good start on the batteries, and they will fully integrate easily with your system. And as you can see, I have a whole mishmash of different kinds of batteries, everything from golf cart batteries to server rack batteries to wall mount batteries to even 12-volt batteries in series. And I've done it with great success so long as they're all the same chemistry and voltage. Now, common questions that people will always ask is, is it going to hurt these batteries to draw them all the way down to zero? Because this will do that, and there's no way to prevent that from happening. And the answer is no. So long as you have, something ready to charge them back up ASAP, the BMS units will protect the batteries very well. One of the strengths also of the Wattcycle units is you can actually log in and change some of the voltage parameters so that the voltage doesn't drop, as low on these, thus preserving the cell integrity even longer. But even still, lithium iron phosphate battery chemistry is so resilient, the occasional time that you might actually draw these down to zero will be just an ever so tiny blip. The calendar aging is probably going to be degrading these cells faster than the occasional time down to zero. What about the battery inside the power station? Will it get harmed? Well, once again, the Bluetti app, you can change it so that it only charges up to like 90% and then stops. And so you have customization on that to, protect and provide, a nice cycle window for the battery cells inside the power station. Now I'm showing this configuration with these server rack batteries just because I love them so much and they're a really good price for the quality you get. I'll for sure leave a link to the full video review of these units down in the description. However, there is one issue with using server rack batteries that you could mitigate in two different ways. The first way would be to actually buy a golf cart battery kit. Anyone who's been part of the channel for any period of time has seen this kit many a time before. I love this kit because you get 51.2 volt, 100 amp hour, so the exact same capacity as a server rack battery, plus this really nice charger. You can see it just plugs right into the AC wall outlet, and so that allows you to recharge your 48 volt batteries without using solar. Because probably the biggest downfall with this setup is this is a one-directional port, right? Only power is going to go into this. Your power station has no way of exporting power through this to recharge your external batteries. And so you've got to recharge these externally, whether it be through solar or some kind of charger like this. You can see right there, I've got a charge verter that works too for 240 volt power charging. So there are options. Just be sure and consider that if you go with this kind of setup. Dollar for dollar, you'll actually get a little better bang for your buck, I think, going with this golf cart battery kit versus the server rack batteries. But on the flip side, the server rack batteries, if you're going to have them indoors and down the road, you hope to expand your system to something like I've got here, that's more of a whole home power solution. The server rack batteries could potentially be more beneficial due to their internal communication protocols and their ability to stack a lot cleaner and a lot better. And yes, if you go the server rack battery, even though they don't include the charger in the box like the golf cart battery does, you can still easily purchase these units. They're pretty cheap, and have a way to charge even server rack batteries from the AC wall power. Comment, please, and tell me your thoughts for or against this setup. All of you are so smart, and there's always really good observations with both perspectives that's super valuable to me, as well as other people who look through the comments. So please freely share your thoughts, observations, considerations, things that maybe I didn't touch on, because we can all learn a lot from each other. I'll have links to all the components that you need to make this a success, so be sure and check those out. I also have links down in the description where you can submit a guaranteed to be answered question by me, as well as book a one-on-one video consultation with me. So take advantage of those opportunities. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype. Those 5 free things really help small YouTube channels like mine. Because of those 5 metrics on other videos like this that are just purely educational, I'm trying to do more of this kind of thing and bring you some of these just purely educational, me playing around with the fun stuff in my garage kind of content. So if you enjoy that, please show it. That's a really easy way for me to see in the metrics what's resounding with people and what people are enjoying. I've got some more fun projects on the horizon, you guys, as always. So stay tuned for more, stay safe, and we'll catch y'all next time.